dont va débuter une exposition au CIAP de Vassivière. Et je salue sa directrice, Alexandra McIntosh, qui est ici même. Et donc Isa Melsheimer marque le démarrage en fait, de la programmation d'Alexandra McIntosh. Donc Isa Melsheimer, c'est une artiste qui nous vient de Berlin, qui va faire une conférence en anglais et non pas en allemand. On a pensé que ce serait plus accessible en anglais quand même. Ça va peut-être vous demander un petit effort. Et dans le travail, très marqué par l'architecture et par les questions environnementales et la relation un peu entre les deux. Mais je pense qu'elle va l'expliquer beaucoup mieux que je ne le fais moi-même. À l'issue de cette intervention, cette présentation, il y aura un temps de questions-réponses. Pas de problème par rapport à l'anglais. S'il faut traduire, on sera là pour aider s'il y a besoin. Puis il y en a parmi vous qui parlent très très bien anglais, donc je ne me fais pas de soucis. Donc, Isa, it's your turn.
Can you hear me? Yes, okay. Okay, so because English is also not my language, I speak very slowly, and if you don't understand me, just tell me. Just ask in between if you have no idea what I'm talking about. So, okay, I'm interested in urban space, in the built environment. Built environment is everything. It's building, but it's also the future, the nature. The nature is also built by now. Not a normal wood, but the gardens and everything. I'm interested in architecture and interested in nature. I bring things from different discourses together, out of different periods, of different times, in order to link them new together, to problematize them, and I'm addressing the change in our society. So this is more or less what I'm working about. So I have lots of images, so we have a lot to see. So this is an exhibition, this is a view in an exhibition, what has the title, Der unfreundliche Zustand der Textur, what means predicament of texture, and it's a quote from a book what is called Collage City, and Collage City is a book what is written in 1978, and it's a critical theory text about modernism and urban planning, and this book is very important for me. I really probably read it 3 or 4 or 5 times. Kind of, it's really. And well, it's about the urban planning, or about the modernism and what's all around. And I choose one chapter for the title of the exhibition, what I do quite often, not having that I'm quoting, that I'm using something. And well, this exhibition was 2 years ago in Berlin in the Kindle Art Center. And I go to the next picture. So when you look at this thing, this is a curtain, this is a printed photo, and the curtain has the title Slothrop, and it's from 2019, and Slothrop is a character in the book, what is a book from Thomas Pynchon with the title Gravity Rainbow. And the hero of the book, the main person, disappears in the middle of the book, more or less, while it's watching to a rainbow. And here you can, so I'm got this costume, and I went in the water and kind of tried to disappear in the water, but you also have the feeling that I'm jumping out. So it's this back and forth of about you don't really know what I'm doing. And when I go back to the photo before, this is the other side of the curtain. There are more or less 3 curtains in the row. And here you have there are different fabric pieces. These are embroideries. And this is a photo from abandoned swimming pool, and it was the Olympic swimming stadium from 2016 in Brazil. And I don't know if you watch sports, but maybe you remember that during the Olympic Games, the water already got green. So it was just built, and it was turning already to a ruin. I'm very interested in ruins. And so this is a photo from the Olympic Stadium. And going this way, so here it's a little bit closer, and here you see a bird, what is also an embroidery. You see it here. And it's a marabou. And marabou, it's a bird what likes to live in the garbage and very close to human settlements. So it's a bird what is not flying away when he sees humans. So it's kind of a connection. And on this side, this is the head, what I was wearing here, and it's embroidered with pearls. And this was to see this whole exhibition, maybe you can see the red line through it, was a little bit the union of nature, human, and architecture. What was like the subject more or less for the whole exhibition. I always try to have like something what brings it all together in the end. So then we continue. This is a ceramic work, and this is a whale heart. Well, not a real whale heart. I had an image of a whale heart, and I was in Newfoundland in Fogo Island. Newfoundland is Canada, and Fogo Island is the most east point of Canada, so it's almost really close to England already. And I stayed here for 3 months. I had a residency, and I followed a story in the newspaper. I was more forced to say. There are beautiful studios in Fogo Island, and I looked out of the window on the sea, and there was something, you also saw the horizon, and then I said, oh, what is this? I never saw, there was no stone yesterday, but suddenly it was moving, and then I was like, wow, it's a whale, and I never saw a whale in my life before, so I was so wow, whales. So I start to Google about whales, and then I found this one story that the whales sometimes lost their way, and then they get stranded, and this way they couldn't push back in the water, so it died, but they took out the heart, and the heart, this is more or less the real size of the heart. It's like, this is 1.20 meters by 90 by 90, so it's really a huge whale and a huge heart. And then I really like the story that they took this heart, transported to Germany, to close to Berlin. There is one person who's supposed to be the best person in plastination. So he plastinated the real heart into this plastination, and they returned it to Canada, and now it's in Toronto in the museum. So this was a little bit the story about his heart, and then I really wanted to do my own whale heart, and here you see it. And this is the inside. It has already a very architecture structure. It looks a little bit like a parking lot when you're inside. I don't have a better photo. This is another work with the title Afterlife. Maybe you know the movie Resident Evil from the vampire movie. It's not a vampire. What is it? No, it's a horror movie, but what did you say? Zombie movie. Zombies, you know, it's a zombie movie. And I really wanted to connect a building with this afterlife from the movie. It's like it's a really trashy movie. There's Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe, I'm sure you know it. And they are the monsters when they're turning, the dogs, they're turning in and they open the mouth. And they have not just one mouth, they have 4, 5, 6. And I wanted to connect this animal with a building. So you see it's here. These are two photos. Maybe it's a rotation. So this was another piece in the exhibition. You see it here. And here in the front, there are also some works. They're called Wardian cases. And well, I tell you a little bit. I tell you what a Wardian case is. It's a case what was was invented for Nadine Ward in 1835. And he was a biologist, and he was working. And at this time, a lot of ships came all over the world. The plant hunter, you know, they brought plants from one country to the other. But it was always a big problem to transport the plants because of the sea water, and all these things. So he invented this Wardian case. And the Wardian case is completely, it's a glass case, and so you put water in, and then you close it. You cannot open it anymore. And then you have the circulation of the water, and because there's something growing, because of the photosynthesis, you also have the air. So you really have a closed system. It's like a little world, you know, something is growing, and then when it's water, the water dries, and it's raining down. So it's kind of the circulation. And when I go somewhere, I go in the botanical gardens, and I steal seeds. So it's important that I'm steal them. I don't ask. I really want to steal them and put them everything what I have in my pockets. And then I put them in this Wardian case. So I would say a botanical garden, you always think a botanical garden is something very, very nice, but in the end, it is nice, but in the end, it's a mirror of it's really showing what the colonization the country took and brought to show, you know. And I'm kind of returning it because I'm also stealing the plants and putting them in this Wardian case, close it, and then I look what's happened. And this way. So you can see this is Lisbon from 2012. So it looks like this at the moment. So it's already 10 years old, yeah, and it's still a circulation of the water. So if you do very well and close it, then it really works. So this is these two boxes 1 year later, and now at the moment they are in Nice, on the Côte d'Azur, in the MAMAC, the museum, and here you see them again. And in this exhibition, I have them kind of as a starting point for the exhibition. And the exhibition, it's still running, so if you have the chance to go to the Côte d'Azur, it will be until beginning of May, has the title Compost. And I also was thinking that this compost is also a circulation. It's something, you know, you're eating an apple and then you put it in a compost and then it gets earth, but then something is sprouting again. So I'm really interested by these circles. I called it circle. And something about the Côte d'Azur, what you probably know, because it's a new country. At the Côte d'Azur, there are these palm trees, and the phoenix palms, and since a few years, the palm trees, they are dying. And it's because of the red palm weevil. Maybe you have weevil, you know what a weevil is? This little animal, a bug. Yeah? Okay. So the red palm weevil, it's a kind of disease on the Côte d'Azur. The red palm weevil goes in the palm trees on the top, it goes inside, and then it starts to compost. Well, not the weevil goes inside, put the eggs inside, and then the little groups, the white ugly things, they go inside and composting the trees. And the Côte d'Azur, it's like this, the sign of the Côte d'Azur. The Côte d'Azur couldn't be without any palm trees. So they're kind of really shocked now our palm trees are all dying. But the palm trees even don't come from the Côte d'Azur. They come from the Canaren. What is this? Canaren? Canadian islands, yeah, Canary Islands. They come from don't come from the Côte d'Azur, but it's really strange. Everybody in South France think we need the palm trees, and they try everything. And I'm saying, okay, we have to, I would say, we have to live with the consequences of our climate changes. And I would go one step further and think, how does it look like to live in the ruins of the capitalism? So here we have this little worm. Here it looks quite cute. So they're little ceramics, they're kind of this size. And here we have the cocon of this animal, and I was thinking that this animal is taking over the Côte d'Azur. Say, humans go away, I go. And the first thing what they do, they're taking over the architecture. So you can see here it's the building. And because I'm very interested in architecture, and on the Côte d'Azur, there are really a lot of like masterpieces of architecture, and so they're taking over the buildings. This is the Maison Rouge from what is a building, what probably you know from a James Bond movie, because the Côte d'Azur is also a lot of screens. A lot of movie they do there, but it's this one, and then this is, they all have the title Metamorphoses, and this is a building from Guy Rotier, Maison sur Fil. Sorry, my French. Ours looks like alien here. And this is the Metamorphoses Jacques Corel, and I have a photo. These are the houses, and now they look a little bit like this. So they have like a Concorde. They also look a little bit like a space shuttle, so they can like, yeah. So this one, it's maybe more known. It's the von Antilovac, Maison Bernard. So it looks like this, and the sculptures, them all this size to have an idea. Here are two other buildings from Antilovac, and the other one from Guy Rotier. So this was the taking over, and here you have a few in the exhibition. I want to say a little bit. So when I have an exhibition, I do a lot of new works for the exhibition. What I was doing here the last 6 weeks, doing new works for the exhibition. But I'm also taking existing works, what I think they could fit. And then there is this work, what is quite an older work from 2009. With the title Christoph. So this was a shirt of Christoph, and he gave it to me. And when a shirt has a lot of holes, I kind of do an embroidery on the hole, and then you can see there was a hole, and then I put some fabric behind, or I go with the sewing machine, and then there is a point, then the fabric, the existing fabric, you know, like a sweater, then it's completely, there's so many reparations that the original material is almost gone, and it's a complete new one. You can see here's also an embroidery. I think there's one here. Here's one. So I always doing this with my clothes, when there is a hole, I do an embroidery. And then there's one point when they're almost falling apart, and then they turn into the art. Here is another one. This was a curtain, and there was also a hole in the curtain because somebody made a hole with a fire, and then I also put some pearls around that it also looks a little bit like a wound, you know, like that it's a wound. Is it the right word? Yeah. So then I want to, here is another Wardian case, a new one. I put 3 of these phoenix palm trees, what I was thinking it's all about, the exhibition. And then I also made a new Wardian case. These are everything what you need for a salad niçoise. So because it's created in Nice, so I thought I'd do. So this was on the evening of the opening. And last week I wrote to curator, can you please send me a photo? Because I was hoping there is some sprouting of maybe these or these. So I say, please send me a photo so it looks like this. So I think it will be more and more like this bacteria, they will coming, and then maybe one day something will sprout, I don't know. Better we don't open, because I think it will be, the best smell. Well, so this is and I was really surprised that it's all white. It looks like snow, not even like mushrooms. For chicken, yeah, when it's warm enough. And I don't know what will be the sardines, maybe they start to swim. So this is the Wardian case salad niçoise. Okay, talking about bacteria, because here bacteria, and also I want to talk a little bit about where I am. I don't look at my papers. Well, talking about ceramic, because this is what I'm here for, and the clay comes out of the earth, and the water also comes out of the earth. And the materials to make the clays is also comes from the earth. It's like feldspar, silica, carbonate, dioxide. And a few years ago, I started to make my own clays, and I was really fascinated about these raw materials that you can make with maybe a little bit copper, carbonate, and a little bit titanium oxide. You can make a beautiful turquoise. So I really started to experimental. For a while, I forgot a little bit the architecture. I was really doing it, and also the ceramic is a material. You know, you really kind of work with it, and you have it in your hand, and every move is maybe a decision. You know, with every move you think, oh, do it this. So I was really into doing the ceramic works, and so I started with these bacteria because I just was fascinated how they look like, but the bacteria is also something we have all over our body. We need them to live, and the bacteria need us to live. And well, we need them to make friendships because of the smell. We maybe need them to fall in love, and we need them for many things. So bacteria is something very nice. And also the bacteria makes the, organize the metabolism. And the metabolism, it's French, is it? Metabolism? You know what it is. And because of the metabolism, I say, yeah, now I'm at the architecture again. Because there was a Japanese group in the, oh, here I show a little bit some clay things. So my experiments. Oh, this is actually the invitation card. Did we bring the invitation card? Yes. Good. So here, this work, and this is Metabolite, I think 13. I quite often have a title, and then I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, or sometimes I have the architect I'm related to, because I'm quite often related to architecture. So the metabolism was a Japanese architecture movement from the 60s, and the idea of the architecture was that architecture can grow, that you know, if you need a second space, you just plug it in, and then the building is bigger. So when you get kids, you plug in some rooms, and then the kids go out of the house because they're grown up, you plug them away. So I really like the idea, and they were also thinking that an architecture can grow underwater, in the air, and everything. But it was only an utopia. It never really existed. But this metabolism, what is also the same word than with the bacteria, with the body metabolism, and so I started to make some sculptures. I just showed them. And they all have the title Metabolite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ongoing. So they're okay. And then when I saying it was just an utopia, and the question why utopias always become a dystopia, and there's so many smart ideas and beautiful ideas of city planning for a better life, but at some point they're failing the most of the time. Yeah, you're here in a fantastic building. I think it's one of the best art school buildings I ever saw, but I think it was also kind of utopia to build a building like this. It looks like a machine. It has really, it's a little bit in this direction, like this Centre Pompidou, but I don't know if it works really so well, because it's really noisy, you have problems with the roof, so there's so many things, but thinking of this as an utopia, I don't know if it turns in a dystopia, but I think this is a question I'm always asking, and what is about this planning of modernism, and when you think the modernists, they had a deep belief in the utopia. They were really thinking that they will create a new community to architecture, but everything was designed on the drawing board, and in the end, it was maybe too elitist, and too authoritarian. So it didn't really like all these Corbusier ideas. Here in France, you're full of Corbusier. so there were really nice ideas, but it didn't really work. And then on the other side, then there was this postmodernism. What is the museum in Vassivière? It's Aldo Rossi. It's one of the postmodernism architects. And there also was thinking that something complex than architecture has to be a democratic decision, that people have to be involved, you know, that not one, like Monsieur Corbusier say, it looks like this, that the postmodernism were asking more people to get a building together, but in the end, the postmodernism was failing again, and it was not so different to the modernism because it was also just an idea of a few people. And this is an exhibition 1 year ago in the Gallery Esther Schipper in Berlin, and with the title False Runes and Lost of Innocence. And maybe with these sculptures, they discuss this problem of modernism and postmodernism in itself, that the building become an inner life, and this is related to all these theories. So I show a little bit of this. Well, this has to do with a building, and I didn't write down the name. It's the how you call it? Where the main house? I don't even know it in English. Where the lawyer lives? No, not the where the government is. How you call it? What you have in every town? The town hall, yeah, the town hall. Sorry, I did. The town hall of Boston. And I connected this with my legs. So it has something, and here the legs get a little bit like a crystal, so they're kind of crystal falling apart. Here you see the other side of the building, and get a little bit an idea of the size. They're quite big. They're like 1.20 meters by 80 something. So here we are closer. And this is a building of Corbusier. And I really like to draw, here you see the size. I really wanted to have a horse head in the middle of the Corbusier building. He was so rational, but then this just put a horse inside. So this is this work. And maybe on this point I say, sometimes it looks like I'm making fun of the architects, but I appreciate architecture very, very much, but I sometimes wanted to have like this put them a little bit back to earth, that it should be something normal and not something like the high art. So here you can see. It's so colorful here. It's not so colorful here. It's better here. And this is another building. And this is a curtain. What is a photo again? On the other side, it also has embroideries. And this is me again. And I made a costume. I sometimes do costumes, and then I make a photo. I don't do performances, but this is a little bit like a performance. But usually there is not just one photo. And this photo I print on a curtain and then I use it. So this is me on the top of my studio roof, and I had the idea that there are roots, but it also looks more like a bird. So it's something between a bird and here's the horse head again, and another tree. And I was fascinated by this tree. You have them quite often here, that this tree is not growing this way. Somebody has to cut it, that it looks this way. So it's not by nature. So it's a way of nature, but not at all. But when you see the photo here, I was hiking. Then you also have a tree what looks very similar, but it has the shape by the nature. So I wanted to bring them together. And maybe you saw before also there are sometimes gouaches. They're gouache on paper. So I'm do what I do also as well, and maybe it's a little bit my archive. So I'm kind of collecting buildings and make drawings. So I show you a few. So here it's not so much left of the building, just the curtain. Oh, you have this one. So this, I was in Italy 2 years ago, so it's also inspired by church paintings, but also modernistic buildings. Or this one. And they're also quite, like they're from this side to this side. So they just have numbers. They don't have titles. They just have numbers. And I think I'm started in 99, and I'm now about, I think number 1 was 99, and now I'm about 500 or something. So I'm just like doing them next to it. So we can stop now and talk, or if you have energy, I can show you one more exhibition. Whatever. What is your? How are you? Should I continue? Okay. So, because I talked so much about Corbusier, this is the exhibition with the title Rain, and it was in Morbière. And Morbière is there where the Peugeot get produced, you maybe know. But not anymore. It's a shrinking city. It's maybe a little bit like Limoges. It was like really beautiful city with a lot of industry, and they got a lot of beautiful houses and everything. But now the industry is a little bit dying, and well, I don't know. And I don't want to say too much about Limoges, but I think also, like there was a time you were speaking of the white gold by porcelain, and you can really, when you go through the town here, you can really see how much money it was, all these villas and everything. And Morbière is a little bit similar, because Peugeot, they don't produce so much anymore, or they don't produce it all in mobilier anymore. And Morbière is also there where from the Notre Dame des Hauts, the chapel from Corbusier, is on the hill. And because I'm dealing so much with architecture, and I was always a big Corbusier fan, they invited me to make an exhibition there. And so I went to this chapel, and this is what it ended up. So I kind of used the structure of the south wall of the chapel and made this object. And when Notre Dame was built, 1955, and Le Corbusier wrote a letter to his mother. It's here, the letter, and I try to, well, it's in French. You could read it, but I cannot read it to you. But I kind of tell you a little bit what is what he's writing. He's writing to his mother, "You, Corbu, in the spotlight, on the peak of his success, beloved and viewed of everyone." And he's writing, "The devil is in the corner giggling, and as usual, the devil is not passive. Rome, the Catholic Church, Rome, have an eye on Ruchon, and I'm waiting for the storm." It was 2018. I was waiting for rain, because it was this really, really hot summer, and I was building this thing. I was waiting so therefore the exhibition has the title Just Rain. And then going back, well, this is the south wall, and this is a water basin. And when you really look at this chapel, it's all about water. It's kind of, the roof it looks a little bit like a boat, but it also has a shape that everything, it's ending up in, now you have to help me again, because it's a French word, in a gargoulin. Gargoulin? How you pronounce it? Where the water goes in. Yeah. And the nice thing is that in French, this also is a devil or little monster. What you have in Notre Dame, you have all this water spying, and I was really fascinated that in the German language we have two different words, but that in the French you have the same word. And so I made the south wall, and here all this ceramic water spire. They are a combination of Le Corbusier water gurgle and little monsters. Oh, so you see them. So I put them here, and this is the structure of the inside. And this is concrete, and this is 4.80 meters, and this is 2.50 meters. And here's the letter of Corbusier. I got a copy. And here's the devil. It's me. And maybe you know the photo of Marcel Duchamp. It's a portrait of what is Man Ray made a portrait of Marcel Duchamp. And my boyfriend, he's a photographer, and he made a photo of me as a devil. So I put some. It's shaving cream. You put shaving cream like Marcel Duchamp put shaving cream, and so I did it. So this is me as the little devil sitting in the corner and giggling. And yeah, here the water spire, and this is the bassin. What is kind of in the end? There's this building, and then there is this huge bassin. All the water goes in. And this is another work in this exhibition. What has to do with an architect, what is also inspired by Corbusier, but it's in Hamburg. And this is the building. Well, it's supposed to be 3 buildings. They're not existing anymore. And there is a pile of snow. And this building, it's broken already, just to see a little bit the exhibition. And it's also concrete and ceramic. And these are other works with also combination of concrete and ceramic. And I think that's it, yeah. So if you have questions, please. You can also have them in French, because there are some people that speak both languages. So, but I prefer when you do it in English. Yeah, yeah. You're welcome.
I was wondering, you work a lot with ceramics, and you're here to work with ceramics.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about preservation of nature. But personally, I don't think ceramic is I don't think ceramic is eco-friendly material.
No.
So yeah, I would like to know your opinion on it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's always a point when you do art and being eco-friendly at all. Also, maybe the whole living, you know, so I think, well, the ceramic, it's coming from the earth, what is nothing bad, but, and it's, I think, the most thing, you're thinking that the firing costs so much energy and all this thing. Of course, you could make a wood burn, but then you have the problem with the wood. Yeah, it's a material, but I don't think if I don't, also painting is not eco-friendly, and also when I come here for an exhibition, I also take an airplane. This is also not eco-friendly. So there's so many points you're not really, you come into trouble with where's the point you have to stop and not. So if you want to be a completely eco-friendly person, you better not an artist. But this sounds so negative, because I think you could say, do we need art? But I think we need art. I think it's really, really important. I think also in the COVID time, we really found out that art is very important, because this probably was the thing what we were missing most, going to the theater, going to exhibition, and so I think we need art, but giving art a eco-label, it's very difficult, yeah.
So are you interested in maybe finding more like a substitute, more eco-friendly substitute, if it's possible?
Well, if it's possible, yeah. Well, I'm going to build a studio, and I put a sun. That the sun makes the energy. So I'm trying to build a studio. I told the architect I want to have a studio what is completely, that I get the energy from the sun and that we have the most water from the rain. So I'm trying, but yeah, maybe then it's a little bit more eco-friendly. Yeah. And you could. And sometimes you maybe have to think smaller, when you fire a piece, that you really see that the kiln is full, and you can look for many things. That when you clean your stuff, you don't do it in the sink, then you do it in an extra and collect it. So there are many ways to be, not completely, but do it a little bit better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. I loved all the pieces, especially the building with the head of the horse. And I'm wondering, have you ever tried some performance? If no, do you think of making one? And my second question is, have you ever, which material you felt comfortable working with? Thank you.
I didn't understand.
The second question is, I'm wondering which material you felt more comfortable with?
Oh, this is changing.
Yeah.
So with the performance, yeah, what I was saying, I did performance and then taking a photo, and I made a work with, I worked with dancers together, but in the end it was a video work, so it was a film. So I had 6 dancers, modern dancers, and they were dancing in architecture in the fountain. I'm doing things like this, but for myself, I don't feel comfortable on the stage. Well, I feel comfortable here, but I don't think I don't want to do performances. I feel I like, when we do these photos, what you see, what I was telling that my partner, he's a photographer, so I trust him. So it's just the two of us doing it, and he's doing the photo, and so I feel more comfortable, and I don't really. Maybe I will do one day, but I don't really can think of it doing it in front of
to share it
audience.
with people.
Yeah, I think it's, maybe when you're asking about feeling comfortable, I think I feel more comfortable doing something in my studio and then showing it. And about the materials, where concrete is there's some, like I'm working also with glass, there was nothing here now, but then I don't fire glass, it's just recycled glass. It's just really eco-friendly work. actually. So I was doing a lot of glass works, but then when I got a little bit bored, and then I started with the ceramic in 2013, and at the moment I really love to do ceramic. I feel most comfortable with ceramic. But now, the last 6 weeks, I work like every day, more than 10 hours with ceramic, and I'm really looking forward to come home and do embroideries. And also do some drawing. So it's changing. But yeah, there I would say concrete, ceramic, glass, the gouaches, and the fabric, and then also photos. So it's kind of, it's moving. But what is always in my work is the architecture, like not say the architecture, I was trying to say the builded environment, everything what is builded, because this is also the nature, but not the nature. So what is there's not so much nature left. It's more everything, it's already touched by humans. So.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah. I don't know, just pass it.
Each of your exhibitions seems to have a very personal reaction to the local, natural and architectural environment that you're working in, whilst maintaining consistent themes across fabrics and ceramics and architecture. Could you tell us a little bit about how you reacted to Vassivière?
Yes. Well, Saturday you can see, but I really read a lot about Aldo Rossi and about the postmodernism, and I wrote some text about it, and but. Well, how was the switch to get to the which? Yeah, I don't. That's difficult. So I usually go somewhere and see the space. You know, it's really important for me. See the space before, and I walk around, and then I seeing little things, and then I was like fascinated by this building. What is on an island? What in a lake? But it's not a real lake, you know. It's a real lake, but it's a dam, you know. It's not a nature lake. It's a lake. What is you say artificial? Yeah, maybe it's because it's a dam, and
it's
then
a reservoir.
A reservoir, yeah, and then there is this lighthouse, and so it's you're thinking that it's nature, but it's all a little bit not real nature. And then I was looking at the building, and the nature is already taking over a little bit the building. There's some, so it's getting closer, and there's some plants on the wall already. I don't know how you call these little plants, the green one. They stick on the walls. So I also wanted. That I was always fascinated by a plant, what is called Welwitschia, and it's a desert plant, what is growing in the desert in Namibia, and it's a plant what can live without water or a little bit water, and it gets thousands of years old, and it just keeps on growing. So I kind of. This plant is taking over the building, so it's moving into the building. So this is and taking over the postmodern buildings. They're not postmodern; they're more modernistic. So I also asked the question: what is it in the end? Like all this idea of pluralism. Postmodernism, modernism, and also the utopies, and then they're failing again, and then there is this very old plant what just keep on growing, so it's endless compares to like when we talk about all this architecture movement or talk about modernism, we are in one, it's just one century, what is nothing against this very old plan. So this is a little bit the connection I did to speak a little bit. It's always difficult to speak about an exhibition before. Sometimes I know 1 or 2 years later what I actually did. So this was in my mind. So have this Aldo Rossi, what sounds also very strange. I don't like him very much. You know? I don't really like his building, but I like the museum. And this is also very nice. I had the same experience in Luxembourg with IMPI. And I kind of, what a terrible building. But in the end, I really appreciate the buildings. I really start to like them because I really try to get familiar with them, to a little bit like you move in. And this is also what I think it's an important point, that I try to understand a building. Or also, like in Nice, it was not so much about the architecture, it was more about the Côte d'Azur, the idea of the Côte d'Azur.
Thank you. So, yeah, we'll have to have a look from this weekend, but it's like a reinterpretation of the building. Or the built, what you call the built environment.
The built environment, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello. I wanted to ask you if you could give me a few keys or maybe help to understand the gargoyle symbol. I did not understood what it meant in this context and within the exhibition.
In this exhibition, because when you see at Corbusier buildings, and especially this chapel on the. Then there is always on one corner, he has this big water, water spying, how you call them, the water, you call them yeah, you have them there, and it's something what Corbusier is really known for. And when you see the chapel, well, it's a chapel, it's a building, but when you see the roof, it's all about how the water can run, ending up in this thing, and then ending up in a bassin, what exactly looks like this. And because in the French language, also a little devil is kind of the same. It's the same word. And because when you go to Notre Dame in Paris, you have these little devils for the water. And I wanted to connect them because Corbusier was building this chapel, and it was like not so normal at this time that the chapel looks like this, and he was saying that a devil is sitting in the corner of the chapel and it's giggling, he's laughing, and when I say, and Rome has an eye, so the Catholic Church is the Catholic chapel, is sitting in Rome, and they're really strict, you know, they say. So this was the combination that in the end he didn't really build a chapel, he built a huge water, a huge I'm not going to make it tonight, this word. Does it?
Thank you.
Yeah?
Alors. I really liked your work, especially the glass boxes. So, but I missed some information. Did you invented the process of closing totally the boxes and keep the plants alive in it, or it's a process who ever had a name or an inventor?
Yeah, that's Nadine Ward. He was, well, the inventor was Nadine Ward, and therefore they're called the Wardian case. What is a Wardische Kasten in German, maybe in French, I don't know how it is in French. And he was living in the 19th century, and he had just a little bottle, a water bottle, and he was closing it, and he put some earth inside and a little animal, because he wanted to see if the animal can survive. The animal didn't survive, but then some fane was growing. So this was the starting point for these Wardian cases, and it was the same time when all the plant hunters like Columbus and Humboldt and all this go with the ships all over the world and collecting plants. But they had trouble to return the plants because they were on the ship and they didn't have any sun, and there was no water for them, because like this, what is it, the very famous, the Bounty, you know, the ship Bounty? Bounty, it's a movie, a children movie. What is the word again? The Mutiny of the Bounty. Do you know this children book? But this happened in real, you know, that really, if you have the chance, it's not a children movie, I think it's a grown-up movie, but it's really nice. This is the whole story a little bit, that the crew was doing this mutiny, that the crew was doing the mutiny because the captain say, you don't get any water anymore, we need it for the plants, you know, for the potato. In this case, it was not it was the breadfruit, and the breadfruit was really, it was really saying a political things. Also, we have to bring like the potato and the breadfruit to bring it back to England, you know, because they were the big colonizing people, and then the crew didn't get any water anymore because they had to put it to the plants. And then there was suddenly this Wardian case. You could transport plants because it was a closed circle, and therefore in the history, it's really known as the Wardian change. It was in the 19th century, and when you read about plant hunting, they always talk about this Mr. Nadine Ward, and I really like this closed system. I think they're very nice, and also the idea that you put that it's like a little world, you know, that there is the circle. But I also, it's all about this colonization, you know. When you go in a botanical garden, it's kind of a mirror where the colony were like in Lisbon, in Portugal, for example. They have 3 botanical gardens, and they brought all the plants from all over the world. So a botanical garden is something very beautiful, but it has also a lot to do with colonization and the idea of it. So it's like show what we got, you know. And I wanted to go in this botanical garden and steal the seeds, so do the same what the colonization people do, stealing, and put them in this Wardian case, and then they can grow. And what I didn't say, what I think it's really nice, that after a few years, after about 5-6 years, they all look the same. They have just fun and this moss. So after a few years, they're all the same. And you don't need to do anything. You just put the earth in, then you put the seeds. You not just put the seeds in. You first put the seeds in, then you have to wait that they're growing a little bit. And then you close it.
Okay.
But you have to close it really, really proper.
I was asking you because I'm doing it with, I don't know the English word for it. It's like you get on the second type of glass boxes, like mushroom, white mushroom. What the name in English?
Mushroom. No,
okay.
Schimmel. Yeah, what is it? Molded.
Okay.
What is the white stuff, the mushroom?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't get the idea to totally close the box. So I was asking myself if it was working just for plants or with these two.
Yeah, I think so. I was hoping that something is growing, but nothing is growing. But I think this is what a compost does. You know, I think maybe in 4 or 5 years something will grow.
Okay.
Because I think it's only now 3 months. So the plants, sometimes I have also the problem of it depends on, you know, when it's, then you also have like, they're not really growing, they turn right away into this, but yeah. I
will try myself.
Yeah, you also need and I think also because the salade niçoise it's in the museum and there's not really daylight. We just have a daylight lamp. Maybe this is also a problem. And then there are also like, well, the eggs they're closed, but there are also the tomatoes and all the things. But tomatoes also have seeds. So in the end, I think this is something also, the title of the exhibition was compost. I think in the moment there is more a compost process. And I'm hoping that after a while something will grow. I'm not sure, but I think something will grow, but it will take a few years.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you so much, Isa, for this time. I think that it was really inspiring for our students. Mm-hmm. So we can't wait to see the exhibition in CIAP. You have an invitation here if you want to go. It's opening on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
And we will be there. Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Yeah, come to Vassivière. Thank you.